two, it's a mobile home. And this is the problem we have here today is that many folks that were in New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl game are coming back home today, and they are driving. And if you know somebody that's driving along Interstate 5920 between Meridian and Eutaw, Alabama, you might want to call them and let them know this is a time where they don't want to be driving. Just pull off at the next exit, stop at a gas station, a restaurant, just some place where you can get in there in a good, safe, secure place and not be in a car. A car can be basically a death trap during a tornado. But again, this is a severe storm with potential for a tornado that is coming up through Sumter County. And this does include the cities of York and Livingston. It includes the campus of the University of West Alabama. And of course, if this track continues, it would affect Greene County. This is Boligee here. Boligee sits basically on the Black Warrior River, and that's a city of Eutaw. The warning does not include Greene at this point, does include Sumter. Now, Sumter County is over in the Meridian, Mississippi television market, but I know a lot of people watch us there, and therefore will stay with us for a while. And again, this is the other storm with the other tornado warning polygon that is located north of Meridian, Mississippi. And we'll keep an eye on that. That's moving northeast as well. But again, that's a look at the Skycam coming from Bonita Lakes Mall in Meridian. And I stress for those people that might have folks there, the relatives, concerns. We've heard of no damage in the city, but basically you had one cell that passed west of Meridian, one that passed east of the city, and everything at this point looks good there. So in our state, we currently have two active warnings. We have the tornado warning in effect for Sumter and a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Pickens. And again, there are no warnings for Tuscaloosa or Birmingham. I don't know if we can pull up the day one convective outlook, Megan, if we can do that. I want to show the risk areas. And again, we have three specific risks involved here today. Now, for those of you in East Alabama, you're on the lowest end. You've got the marginal risk. That means there's a chance of severe weather, but it's a pretty small chance. It's very marginal, as the risk states. The standard slight risk is basically for the western half of the state, basically from I-65 on west, and there is an enhancement right in through here. And again, the guys at SPC have really done a good job with that because that's where all the active warnings are currently in progress. And you can see in Mississippi, we have a tornado warning now that's in effect, looks like for parts of Oktibbeha County. And that is just data that I don't think reflects our new outlook, so we'll take that off. I'll pull that off the web. And so let's go back to our high-resolution radar. And again, let's look at the velocity display. When we saw it a minute ago, it was pretty noisy. It didn't reflect a particularly good signature. And again, at this point, it's not showing a particularly strong, tight rotation. If you've watched us over the years, you've seen those really tight velocity couplets, and this is not one of them. But again, based on the fact that we've had some damage in Mississippi in the history of these things, the Weather Service, as a course of least regret, has decided they'll put a tornado warning up here for Sumter County. So again, there is broad rotation in the southern end of this thing down around York and Cuba. By the way, this is US 80 that runs from Cuba east over to Demopolis, comes over the Rooster Bridge and the Tombigbee River. This rotation is moving northeast, so this will not really affect Highway 80 if you're traveling on that route. The main concern is for US 11 and the parallel interstate highway, which is where Interstate 59 and 20 are run together in through here. And again, that goes through Sumter County and far west Alabama. So again, that's fairly noisy. Let's go back to our Skycam in Livingston. We have a Skycam on the campus of the University of West Alabama in Livingston. And again, this is where temperatures are around 70, and the dew point is just screaming high there. The dew point is sitting at 68. And again, that is a sign that conditions are favorable, at least in the low levels. But just because you have a dew point of 68 in January doesn't mean you'll have a tornado. Other things have to be, working for that to happen. Various things like shear, the change of the wind with altitude. You need to have a very strong dynamic system to lift the air, to make the air parcels rise easily. And again, but certainly that is one of the ingredients that we like to have. So let's go back to the main graphic system here, Ken. This is a big picture, if you will. We kind of like to do this. And again, if you're just joining us, we stress that if you're watching us in Tuscaloosa, in Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden, there are no active warnings in effect for you. There is a tornado watch that is in effect. In fact, we can pull up that watch warning map, Megan. That'll be helpful. This is going to show the tornado watch and all the various warnings. The counties in the shades of purple here, these are the counties under a tornado watch. This includes Jefferson, Walker, Winston, Bibb, Perry, and counties back off to the west. Could this watch be extended eastward? It's a possibility, but it's not necessarily going to happen. We'll see how things play out. And then over in the western side of the watch, we have the two warning polygons. That is the severe thunderstorm warning for Pickens County. And then down in Sumter County, we have the tornado warning, and that's the reason that we are here. The severe thunderstorm warning for Pickens County is in effect until 4:45 this afternoon. That's for about the next 30 minutes. And the tornado warning for Sumter County is also in effect until 4:45. We stress we have heard of no specific damage from either one of these storms, which is a good thing. But again, based on the history of these storms, what they have done earlier today back in Mississippi, producing some damage there, we encourage folks to be in a position where they can hear the warnings and take action if you have a warning that's in effect for where you are. And back in Mississippi, we have a tornado warning in effect now. This includes Oktibbeha County, parts of Lowndes County, Clay County. This is basically in the area between Columbus and Starkville. So again, for folks that happen to be watching us on the live stream there, we don't want anybody traveling on US 82 between Columbus and Starkville for that obvious reason, in that there's a possibility of a tornado there. And again, of course, this is handled by the Columbus Tupelo television market. That's our warning for Pickens. And again, the reason we're here, it's the tornado warning that is in effect for Sumter County. Looking at all of the sources we have, I don't see any specific reports of damage, and that's a good thing. We have it is a Saturday. We're coming off a long, Christmas, New Year's holiday period where a lot of folks have been out of pocket, but they're slowly getting back in. One of the concerns we have today, though, is the fact that so many people are driving from place to place. And the last thing you want to do is be driving on a stretch of highway and there's a tornado warning polygon here. So I often ask for your help in situations like this, and that people maybe that are driving, and you can call them and let them know that there's a tornado warning and they need to stay off the road. So again, this is the warning polygon down here for Sumter County, and I'd say that's the biggest concern we have in our state. It's that stretch of Interstate 5920 between the Mississippi state line and the Tombigbee River. I would say that the way the trajectory is here, the core of this might get a little north of the interstate here in just a bit. And once that happens, we can give you an all clear, but I certainly can't do that at this point. So we still advise no travel along Interstate 5920 from the Mississippi state line up to the Tombigbee River right here. And we advise everybody in the cities of York and Livingston to be in a safe place. And you know the routine if you've lived here for a long time, but a lot of people perhaps are new or they're visiting. We want you in a small room. That's a hall, closet, bathroom, near the center of a house, away from windows, and on the lowest floor you can, and no vehicles. And if you live in a mobile home, you can't stay there. You have to exit that mobile home and go to a more sturdy structure, a site-built home or a business or someplace like that. But again, the higher reflectivity values are approaching Highway 17. Highway 17 is the main north-south route in that far, far western part of Alabama. So we advise no travel along Highway 17 from York up to Emell. No traveling along Interstate 5920 through York and Livingston. I'd say for US 11, we can almost give an all clear for this in terms of the rotation here in just a little bit, but certainly this is a storm to watch. Let's go back, if we can, Dennis, to the other radar. This is the one that's got the higher resolution look. And what we're going to do is look at the velocity display here. And again, it is just very broad circulation. And one of the good things about this, I was about to say, the Weather Service has canceled the tornado warning. So again, the Weather Service in Birmingham has canceled the tornado warning for Sumter County, because what you're seeing behind me is basically no evidence of any tornado. And sometimes the Weather Service, and it's a good thing for them to do this, they wait for a few volume scans to be sure the rotation has gone away before they cancel the warning. But again, the warning for Sumter County has been canceled. And at this point, we have no tornado warnings in our state. So that's a good thing. That, again, what you're seeing down here, that there's just no evidence of a tornado there. So we are down to the one warning that is a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for this storm. And again, this is Carrollton. This is Reform. This is US 82. Within this, there could be some strong straight line winds. There's no evidence of storm rotation here. This is moving towards the northeast. This will be crossing Highway 82. And while there's no tornado here, I wouldn't want to be driving through that. So it might be a good idea idea to stay off Highway 82 between the Tuscaloosa County line and maybe Coal Fire or Ethelsville out here just until this thing passes. A lot of thunder, a lot of lightning, but again, at this point, we don't see any evidence of rotation. And if you can check and see if we have a new Skycam in reform, and we're going to check on that. This is one that has just come online, and we often like to give them a little burn-in time to be sure that they're working okay. But again, at this point, we'll check. Okay, this is our new Skycam in reform. Good deal. And this is at Pickens County High School, which is in reform in Pickens County. And again, I want to stress that, okay, looking back to the southwest from the high school, and you know, if you've heard me speak or know, some of the things we've learned after April 27th, 2011, one of the very important things we have to do in our business is to get more cameras on the weather. Now, the problem we have here in Alabama, we typically have heavy precipitation supercells, HP, which means tornadoes are wrapped in rain. You can't see a lot of things. Many of our storms happen at night, late at night, and there's no way we can physically get a camera on every weather feature that we need to get people to respond to. But on the other hand, we can do a better job of this, and accordingly, we continue to expand these fixed cameras. And also, we've got some other folks that are out and about today. In fact, I'm going to send Megan a link to Tommy Self, who was one of our live streamers. And Tommy is out today in the field, and we're going to see if we can get his stream up here in just a second. Obviously, the great advantage with those that are mobile is the fact that, that they can make adjustments and move to a point where, they can see things. Let's go ahead and rotate that camera around very quickly before we go back to radar. We're just going to take a scan, maybe looking to the south from the high school there in Pickens County. And again, this is in reform. This is in Pickens County, west of Tuscaloosa. There is no tornado warning, and that's the one thing we want to stress right here is the fact that we have no tornado warnings in effect for the entire state. We're down to one severe thunderstorm warning, and it's this one for this storm coming up into reform. And there's potential for stronger winds in here. We're looking at some of the velocity data, and I can see why the Weather Service did issue the warning, and that there's and I will say this, there is broad rotation in that storm. It's not tight. This is not the type of circulation that warrants a tornado warning, but I do think a severe thunderstorm warning is very appropriate, and that rotation is coming up on that site. Let's keep going. I want to look all the way around here. This is a new camera, which means that with some of the older cameras we have had, we kind of like to, we know them well, but with some of the new camera sites, we're still getting used to them. And again, this is at Pickens County High School in reform, and we're just scanning the sky. And if there's something there, we're not going to see much. And again, we don't have evidence of a tornado. We're just kind of looking for evidence of high winds, and we don't see that. It looks like the trees are fairly still at this point, but obviously the sky there is very dark. There's the anemometer, and one of the nice things we have with our Skycam network, all of the cameras have a full-service weather station with them, so we get the weather data back. And what you see there, that's not some type of extrapolation or something we made up. That is real-time weather data from that instrumentation you see right there on your screen. So the temperature is 66 there with a dew point of 65. Tell you what, Dennis, let's go back to the high-res radar, and let me just show you what it looks like here. This is reform right here. This is US 82, and again, you can see the evidence of this broad circulation. This is not tight. This is not like a tornado circulation, but that's going to be crossing Highway 82 at reform in a matter of minutes on the journey north, and it could produce some strong straight-line winds. We have a lot of people that live in Pickens County, and via social media and everything else, we can watch the reports in real time, which is marvelous, and we're just not seeing a lot of reports of any strong winds in through here. And if that trend continues, more than likely the Weather Service will allow that warning to expire. But again, for now, it's in effect until 5:45 this afternoon. But again, there's evidence of an inflow notch, and I think the whole thing is rotating in a broad sense. But a tornado is not broad rotation. It's very tight circulation that touches the ground. That's the definition of a tornado, a violently rotating column of air extending from a thunderstorm down to the ground. There might be a touch of small hail. I don't think we'll see a lot of hail today. The temperatures aloft are not especially cold. There could be some, but I don't think we'll see a lot of that. But there might be a touch of small hail as this thing comes across US 82. let's go back to the other radar, the main graphics system. And again, we're looking at the same storm. And again, that's the inflow notch right there. And if you'd look for some type of rotation, it's back here. This is Highway 17 that comes out of Reform down to Carrollton. Carrollton is the county seat of Pickens County. Reform is one of the largest cities in the county, up on the main highway, the main east-west highway. And this is the main north-south highway through the county. That's Highway 17. All this is coming right up into Reform. So let's go back to the Skycam. And again, we'll just kind of keep an eye on this thing. And you're watching it with us in real time. We have no tornado warning here. We'll stress that. We do not see evidence of tight rotation at this point. And I'm not seeing a whole lot of reports coming out of Pickens County. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on that camera. But the key number is the dew point. I tell people all the time, you can drown yourself in weather data on days like today, immersing yourself in upper air data in so many of these severe weather indices and parameters. But if you want to just get down to the old-fashioned way of looking at things, if you got a dew point value, that's very important. And in the cold season, if the dew point here gets up in the mid-60s like that, that is one of the key elements that you need for severe weather. It's hard to get severe weather cranked up with low dew points. That means the air is kind of stable at the surface. The storms tend to be elevated, but when you see dew points like that, they can be rooted down at the boundary layer on the surface, and you can ultimately have problems if the other parameters are in place for that. So again, you can see it's just pouring rain, and there is a severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for Pickens County. Let's go back to the high-resolution radar coming off the Apple TV, and again, I wanted to look at the other problem we have just across the state line. This is in Mississippi. This is within a large rain mass. This is the city of Columbus. This is U.S. Highway 82. That's Highway 45 East, Highway 45 West. This is Starkville. And let me just say this, the danger from this storm is past Starkville and the campus of Mississippi State University. I would say that this does not look, at this point, like there's really tight circulation there. I see some reports of trees down around Starkville, but no serious damage. This tornado warning is in effect for parts of Octibbeha, Lowndes, and Clay counties, Mississippi, until 4:45. The biggest issues in Mississippi have come from the storm that passed west of Meridian, crossed Interstate 20. Reports of trees and power lines down around Meehan and Bailey. They've had reports of damage to a barn. They've had no structural damage from that particular storm in that part of its path, which is a good thing. We stressed today we have heard of no injuries at this point. We're getting some reports of mobile homes that have been damaged pretty heavily in Cooley Springs. Cooley Springs Road, and again, that's the storm that passed west of Meridian. But again, no reports of any damage, and that is a good thing. So again, just wanted to show you, this is a tornado warning polygon that includes the city of Columbus. It includes West Point down to Artesia. And again, we encourage folks not to be driving along US 82 between Columbus and Starkville until that passes. That is not a classic signature here. But I'll put on the, again, the base reflectivity. And I noticed the Weather Service in Jackson has issued a new tornado warning now for Kemper and Lauderdale counties for this southern end of the line down here. A severe thunderstorm is near Marion, Mississippi, potentially producing a tornado moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. So again, Kemper and Lauderdale counties down here under a tornado warning. And again, one of the issues we have with Meridian, they are so far away from the radar sites from Birmingham and Jackson. This is looking for Birmingham. We'll check the Jackson view. But obviously, we pay close attention to storms that are in eastern Mississippi like this because they are so close to the western part of Alabama. And again, this storm will be coming on through Sumter County here in just a little bit. So we'll keep a close eye on that as well. We should mention down in South Alabama, we have a tornado warning for Monroe County. And let's go back to our graphic system, and I want to, if we can, maybe show that watch warning map. And this will show down to the south, Monroe County in southwest Alabama. You can see that there's a tornado warning polygon down here. And again, we're kind of doing this as a service. A lot of these are out of market, but we don't have any football or any big programming going on today, so we can spend some time with you. We'll zoom into this and just show you some of the towns involved in this. This will be involving the US 84 corridor, and US 84 is this highway down here that's south of Monroeville. And then Alabama Highway 21, Alabama Highway 47. They're co-signed in through here. This runs up toward Beatrice, and that's Highway 41 that goes up to Camden. But this is just a tornado warning for Monroe County in southwest Alabama until 5 o'clock this afternoon. If you know people that happen to be down in that part of the state, you might want to let them know that they have that in effect if they don't know that already, and they need to do something about that. And obviously, nobody should be driving down here. So this is a tornado warning down in southwest Alabama. Let's expand this back out and just kind of show the big picture. If you're just joining us, we kind of got into an extended coverage thing here because we had Sumter County under a tornado warning. That warning has expired. But we have a tornado watch for these counties, basically from Birmingham west until 8 o'clock tonight. We have one severe thunderstorm warning polygon for northeastern Pickens County. We have a tornado warning now that's in effect for parts of Lauderdale County, Mississippi. And this is a storm that is coming out of Meridian, and we're going to keep a close eye on that. And that this storm could possibly cross over into Sumter County like the other one. But that is for Kemper and Lauderdale counties in Mississippi. The Weather Service also continues a tornado warning for parts of Clay and Lowndes counties in Mississippi. A possible tornado was located near Tibby, moving east at 40 miles an hour. And obviously, if that continues, that might affect Lamar County. You can see the trajectory of these. It's moving on to the northeast. And on top of everything else, we should mention there's a flash flood watch in effect for a pretty good chunk of the northern third of Alabama. So let's go back to the radar. And again, we'll just give you a big picture. And let me just say this. We do not have any tornado warnings. And we are going to plan on going back to programming here. Checking my clock, it's 4:27. We'll kind of phase back into programming at 4:30 here in about 3 minutes, but we'll come back with frequent updates, and we have a newscast at 6 o'clock. And again, of course, we'll be here for that, and should anything happen between now and 6, we'll come back. But this is the big picture, and again, we stress that if you're in Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden, there is no severe weather. In terms of the severe weather threats, for East Alabama, it's marginal. There is a marginal risk, and that's the lowest end threat. We think the storms will weaken as they move into East Alabama because the air is more stable here. We have the standard slight risk along and west of Interstate 65, and then within that, there is an enhanced risk right in through here that includes Pickens, Greene, and Sumter counties. This is the spot where the parameters are maximized for severe storms that could rotate, and certainly that's been a good call because we've had most of the active weather in that enhanced zone today. So we're going to keep an eye on all of this. These cold season systems like this that are very dynamic can be very hard to deal with. They can bring surprises. The storms are typically low top. They're not like the big storms of spring. They're very hard to deal with. You can have small tornadoes that might last for 2-3 minutes and they're gone. But on the other hand, you can have, I see a new tornado warning for Sumter. So let's go down and we'll take the radar data off. And let me just show you, again, who's involved in this. This is going to be a tornado warning that is very similar to the last one that we had, a tornado warning very similar to the one that brought us here. It's tornado warning for Sumter County until 5:15 this afternoon. Again, this will include the Interstate 2059 corridor. Again, that's the interstate right here. This is the Tom Bigby Bridge near Epps, and this includes, like the first warning, Livingston, the campus of the University of West Alabama, the city of York, and the community of Cuba. The same thing. Here's the problem we have. You can see that the interstate highway is pretty much right through that polygon. So we encourage, in fact, we sincerely ask that you get off the interstate. Sometimes we don't need to be nice. We just need to say, get off the interstate. If you're driving or if you know somebody that is driving, and remember, so many people are coming back from New Orleans, from the Sugar Bowl. A lot of our folks are traveling through here. They just don't need to be on the highway. You know, I know it's going to get you in home later, but you'd rather be safe than sorry. So the idea is pull off at an exit, go into a gas station, a restaurant, and just sit this thing out. These are moving very rapidly, and once the polygon warning expires, then you can go on about your business. But again, this is a tornado warning in effect for Sumter County in West Alabama for a storm that is currently in the far eastern part of Mississippi. Let's go back to the radar, the high-res radar, this one coming off the Apple TV. We're bouncing back between different radars because they serve different purposes, but this is a very high-resolution look at this storm. And this is the storm that has prompted the tornado warning for Sumter County. Again, this is York, community of Cuba. That's US 80. That's Interstate 5920. US 11 runs right through here. And it's the same thing. I know that many of you just went through your tornado plan, and you're having to do it again. And we always hate to ask you to do that, but I'm telling you, and I know it's a Saturday where a lot of folks would just rather be sitting back watching football or doing something fun, but this is a situation where you just don't want to take any chances. So what you're looking at now, this is the reflectivity. This is the velocity display, and this is coming from Birmingham. And like I've talked about, the problem here in this spot, the radar beam is very high off the ground. It is several thousand feet up. And you can look at it from Jackson, you can look at it from Birmingham, you can look at it from Columbus, and you're all way off the ground, and we really don't know what's happening at ground level. That's why the spotters are so critical. We often talk about the spotter training sessions we do. It is a big deal, and that's why we need more spotters. But this is pretty noisy looking, I'll say this, but again, based on the parameters that are maximized in this part of the state with the shear and the instability, the Weather Service thinks that the best thing to do is to go ahead and post up a tornado warning. The warning is going to be in effect until 5:15 this afternoon. And the storm is basically sitting on the Alabama-Mississippi state line. In fact, let me go back and look at the reflectivity. And you can see the core of that thing is coming right up into the community of Cuba and the communities of York. So again, if you are in Sumter County, York, Livingston, Cuba, go to a safe place now. Small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. Let's go to our sky cam that's on the campus of the University of West Alabama in Livingston right here. We'll look back to the southwest. And again, the numbers down there kind of tell the story. In fact, it looks like you can see the shelf cloud of that thing coming in. We'll kind of keep an eye on this camera. The temperature sitting at 68, dew point sitting at 67, a south wind at 14. What we have today in the low levels, we have that south to southeast wind that's pretty robust, and as you go higher, just a few thousand feet off the ground, the winds veer back around to the southwest, ultimately to the west. That is helicity, and that is certainly maximized in that part of the state for the possibility of rotating updrafts and a few isolated tornadoes. The Weather Service in Jackson continues the warning for this storm as well on the state line. It's basically straddling the state line right now. And again, it's moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. Let me just say this. We should mention the Weather Service has canceled the severe thunderstorm warning for Pickens County. If you've been watching us in Pickens for that severe thunderstorm warning, the warning has been canceled. So at this point in our part of Alabama, on the northern end of the state, the only warning we have, it is this this tornado warning in effect that is for Sumter County in west central Alabama, and we just happen to have a sky cam at the right place at the right time. That's the object of the game here, and again, this is in Livingston. This storm is about 45,000 feet tall. That's pretty tall for January. The tropopause tends to be lower in the middle of the cold season like this. It expands in the summer. In the summer, we can have 60, 65,000 foot thunderstorms pretty easily, but to have a 45,000 foot top in early January is a sign this is a very towering storm here. See, the Weather Service in Jackson has issued a tornado warning for Lowndes County, Mississippi, possible tornado near Waverly moving east at 40. Let's go back to the graphic system, our main radar, and again, wanted to show this. In fact, there's the new tornado warning polygon. This is for Lowndes County, Mississippi. Not Lowndes County, Alabama, but Lowndes County, Mississippi. And this does include the city of Columbus. And again, this new tornado warning polygon is in effect until 5:15 this afternoon. It is now 4:33. That's for about the next 45 minutes. So obviously, nobody should be out and about driving here. We want folks in a safe place, away from mobile homes, not in cars. If you're in Lowndes County, Mississippi. So I just wanted to point that out. And, of course, this is Lamar County, Alabama. And obviously, if this circulation holds together, that could clearly impact Lamar County, and a tornado warning could be required. So we'll keep an eye on that. But let's go back down to the Sumter County storm again, and we'll put the radar data back on. And, Megan, if you could pull up an attribute table on this, and we'll see if the system can identify things. It is harder for these automated algorithms to pull up good quality data in the cold season because these are just different kind of storms. But we'll stop the animation. We'll put the attribute table back on here for this particular storm that is located on the Alabama-Mississippi state line and just see what it looks like. And if we can't, that's okay. But again, that's the tornado warning polygon right here that includes Interstate 5920, Cuba, York, Livingston, Epps. These are all communities in Sumter County. Again, that's the physical tornado warning. If you can't do it, that's okay. We'll go without it. Let's go back to the high resolution radar. And again, This enables us to see just a little better view into this with some of the new products, such as the dual polarization radar products. The core of this thing is pretty much straddling the Alabama-Mississippi state line, which is right here. That's the tornado warning polygon. And so we're now looking at the core reflectivity. Let's go look at the core velocity. And again, it's pretty noisy. This is not a classic tornado signature here, but the Weather Service in Birmingham. Yeah. Now we got a tornado warning for Greene, Pickens, and Sumter. So let's go back to our main graphic system and we'll take off the radar data and let's put this on. This is a new tornado warning that's in effect. This is for parts of southern Pickens. In fact, let's expand it out a little bit. I want to see the whole polygon first. This includes the southern part of Pickens County, all right? This is including basically from Aliceville, Benevola, south, okay? Pickensville, south. This is the Sipsey River. In Greene County, the tornado warning does not include the city of Utah. And again, this is something we also learned. We learned that people don't necessarily understand how warnings work. We don't use entire counties anymore. We haven't done that in years. We use small parts of counties because tornadoes are small. For example, if you live in Utah or Forkland, you don't need to do anything here. You are not under a tornado warning. This includes the northern end of Greene County, places like West Greene and Union. If you live in those communities, then you know that you're under a tornado warning. Also, the northern part of Sumter, this includes Geiger and Emell. So this is a separate rotation that is up here in the northern part of Sumter County coming up. Basically, it's going to be close to the Sipsey River. And if this continues, understand this might wind up in Tuscaloosa County. Really, both of these, we have one rotation here, polygon 1, polygon number 2. So that's the reason that we are here. And the good thing I have with this is the fact that we have not heard of any specific damage from these storms in the state of Alabama so far. But understand this is, a fairly rural part of the state, and a lot of times we don't get the damage reports until later. So we have two specific warnings. Let's go back to the high-res radar. And again, I've got the velocity display. And right in through here, this is the rotational signature that has prompted this. And quite frankly, this looks a little better than the southern rotation. But this northern rotation is near the community of Geiger. This is in Sumter County. This is in the northern end of Sumter County, and that'll be coming up, perhaps cutting up into southern Pickens. And we stress for those of you in Pickens County, this warning does not include Reform. The warning does not include Gordo. This is for the southern part of Pickens County, not that northern US 82 end. And that will keep on moving up toward perhaps northern Greene or southern Pickens. This is the community of Union right here. Interstate 5920 runs right in through here. And this is just going to be a rough ride. I'll tell you, this is rough. You're dodging some pretty big storms that are severe and are capable of producing these tornadoes, but the northern polygon does not include the interstate. Let's go back to the core graphic system here, and I think we have an attribute table. Is this a northern and southern storm we have here? Okay, so this is the storm that is prompted the warning for York and Livingston, moving northeast at 58 miles an hour. And notice the tornado impact is 0 here, so basically it's the same thing we're seeing down here. For the southern part of this, the one coming through York, Livingston, the signature is not that strong, but at the same time, we encourage people to don't ignore it, just go to a safe place, and if the warning is canceled, we'll pass that on. So this is a tornado warning. We have two specific polygons in effect now. One is in effect for the southern part of Sumter County. One is in effect for the northern part of Sumter County for these storms coming out of Mississippi. Let's go back to our sky canvas on the campus of the University of West Alabama in Livingston. And again, this is York and Livingston. This is for the southern rotation, and it's going to be pretty tough to see anything today. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of storms that are just totally blocked by heavy rain. But again, we'll keep an eye on that camera, but I don't think this will be a day where we can see a lot. I wish I could tell you it is a day where we could see things like April 27, 2011. How many of those things did we see on these cameras? But this is a different kind of setup today, and the storms are going to be rain-wrapped. And the other problem we're going to be fighting here is darkness. It's 4:39. Darkness will be coming on pretty soon. The days are starting to stretch out a little bit after the solstice back before Christmas, but it still gets dark pretty early around here. But the key thing watching that, the dew point sitting way up there at 67. So let's go back to the main graphic system. And again, this is the big picture. The reason we are here, we have tornado warnings in effect for southern Pickens, northern Greene, northern Sumter. And this is the one that includes our television market. The way it works with the TV markets, Pickens and Greene counties are assigned to us, to the Birmingham market. Sumter is assigned to the Meridian market, but we know a lot of people watch us there. But now we have two of our counties involved. Let's take off the radar data, put the polygons back on here. Let me just show you what they look like to tell you who's in and who's out. So we'll take off the radar data, stick the polygon data back on here. And if we can zoom in just a little bit, this is the northernmost polygon here. Yeah, we'll take the radar data off right down through here. And you can see in Pickens County, this does include the city of Aliceville. It includes Benevola. It includes Pickensville and Point South. It does not include Reform or Gordo. Just want to make that perfectly clear. If you're watching and if you're living along US 82 in Pickens County, you are not under a tornado warning. You don't need to do anything. You might hear a siren. Your weather radio might have sounded. But again, this is the polygon definition. In Greene County, it's the same thing. If you're living in Utah or Forkland, you are not in a tornado warning. This warning is for the northern part of Greene County. In Greene County, Interstate 5920 is not in the tornado warning. This includes the northern end of the county, places like West Greene and Union. If you live close to those communities, you are in the tornado warning polygon, and you need to do something. In Sumter County, basically a pretty good chunk of the county is under a warning. These are two separate warnings. The northern rotation is coming through here. The southern rotation is coming through here. The northern rotation includes Geiger and Emell. The southern rotation includes York and Livingston. The far southern end of Sumter County, US 80, you're not under a tornado warning. From Cuba over to the Tombigbee River, there's no warning in effect there. So there's a look at the specific parts of West Alabama under tornado warnings. And again, up in Lowndes County, Mississippi, we have a tornado warning, and we're going to keep an eye on things to see if the Weather Service opts to expand that. The warnings are in effect, these two tornado warning polygons in effect until 5:15 this afternoon, both of them. And right now we are at 4:42. So in theory, these will stay up for about 30 more minutes, but the storms are moving at a pretty good clip, and we could easily see those moving out or weakening or something happen so they don't stay in effect that long. Now, let's put the radar data back on here. We'll just put a still shot, and again, you can see it's kind of a broken line over here in far west Alabama near the Alabama-Mississippi state line. And within this line, the Weather Service has identified two specific spots where they're concerned about rotation and the possibility of a tornado. And that's the reason we have the tornado warning polygons. This is not a classic April tornado outbreak in the Deep South. This is a typical cold season outbreak that happens in December and January and February, where the storms are lower topped. Although, again, we talked about, this thing is over 40,000 feet. And again, that's pretty respectable for this time of the year. Jim Stefkovich, who's the meteorologist in charge of the National Weather Service in Birmingham, he is working the shift today. Many of us are coming in today. And he's noting out of everything on the board right now, the strongest rotation is located just north of Columbus Air Force Base. And again, if that continues up here, that means the Weather Service will likely extend a tornado warning over into Lamar County. They have not at this time, but again, we're watching all of this rather chaotic activity on the western side of the state. Let's go back to the high-resolution radar. This is the other radar, and again, this is the data coming from Birmingham. This is Columbus Air Force Base, and this is the rotation of concern. Now, what we can do, there is a radar that's a whole lot closer. In fact, just north of that site, and we'll pop that data on. And again, yeah, it's very tight rotation you see right here. That's a tornado signature. All these other things we've seen, they've been very noisy. This is not noisy. And again, this is the radar itself is just up the road. In fact, you can see the radar site is here. And by the way, this is Sulligent, Alabama. This is Vernon. And again, that's a very strong indication of a tornado moving northeast. And if that continues on that track, that will ultimately come up into Lamar County in West Alabama, which means a tornado warning could be required for Lamar County fairly soon. In fact, the Weather Service has just done that. We now have a tornado warning for Lamar County until 5:30. Let me just read the text of the message here. I think it's very well written. Weather Service radar indicates a severe squall line capable of producing brief rain-wrapped tornadoes, in addition to widespread straight-line wind damage. These dangerous storms were located on a line from near Caledonia, Mississippi to Columbus, moving northeast at 45. And within that, again, you can see that good evidence of a tornado here, which is about 5 miles west of Caledonia. And that's going to be crossing over into Lamar County. And let's go back to the main graphic system. And again, we're going to take off the radar data. All I want to see is the polygons here, and I want to show you who's in and who's out. So we'll go up into Lamar County, and you can see that a pretty good chunk of the county is in that polygon. We'll take a closer look at this, and you can see basically the only part of the county not in it may be down here around Kennedy and maybe up here near Detroit. That's in the far northern end of the county. This includes the core part of Lamar County. This includes Sulligent, Vernon. Hello. Yeah, if we can, let's just stay on the same shot, Megan. We're going to take the radar data off. We'll go back to the polygon data only. But this includes Sulligent and Vernon and Millport. You know, these are going to be smaller tornadoes today. These are not the long-lasting type tornadoes that we have. But understand, because of the nature of this, they've decided to make the polygons fairly large today, and that other circulations could pop up. It's a situation where there could be a tornado for maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes, and it's gone away. Another one pops up, and this is probably the right thing to do. So it's a large tornado warning polygon for Lamar County. This includes, it does not include Detroit. It does not include Kennedy. Includes everybody else. And if you're in Lamar County, you know the deal. No cars, no mobile homes. You want to be in a small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. And this warning will be in effect until 5:30. Now, let's leave this map up and let's go down. Let me show you these other two tornado warning polygons. The Weather Service continues a tornado warning for parts of Greene, Pickens, and Sumter until 5:15. This is this northern polygon here. We have potential for a tornado that is near the Tombigbee River, a bit north of Gainesville. And this is moving northeast, and again, that's going to be moving pretty close to the Sipsey River. The Sipsey River defines the boundary between Pickens County to the north and Greene County to the south. Obviously, nobody should be on Highway 14. State Highway 14 is the main route between Greene and Pickens counties, between Utah and Aliceville. So nobody should be along Highway 14. And if anybody is in this zone here in Greene County, Union, and West Greene, you should be in a safe place. Remember, Utah is not in the tornado warning. We stressed that. Forkland, Utah, this is all north of you. And again, for Pickens County, Benevola, Aliceville, Pickensville, and Point South down to the Sipsey River. And in Sumter County, you know, it's almost out of Sumter County at this point. So this is the northernmost warning. Let's go down and show you the other part of Sumter County along Interstate 5920. This is the second southernmost warning, and this includes Interstate 5920. The call to action here is that nobody should be in a vehicle along Interstate 5920 at this point, because of the potential for a tornado. The worst possible place to be is in a car, a vehicle, a place like that, a mobile home, and we encourage you to just be in a good, safe place until these things pass. I am combing a lot of sources here, and I still do not see any specific evidence of damage in our state, which is good. But remember, this is a fairly rural part of the state, and that could change. And so we just advise you to stay in a safe place until these things pass. Let's go back to the high-resolution radar. We're going to look at velocity. And again, this is probably the best signature we have right now on radar. This is a storm that is perhaps producing a tornado just to the west-northwest of Caledonia, Mississippi, moving northeast, and that's going to be crossing the Alabama state line, moving up into Lamar County. I would say from this rotation, the higher probability of having a tornado in Lamar County is going to be over the northern half of the county. But certainly if you're in the city of Vernon, if you are in Sulligent, as far south as Millport. Millport's on the very far end of this, and odds are you won't have one, but since you're on the edge of the polygon, I'd go ahead and be in a safe place until this thing passes. That'll be moving northeast up into central Lamar County. Could go pretty close to Vernon, maybe passing just north of there, but everybody needs to be in a safe place. State Highway 17, that is the main north-south highway. Nobody should be traveling there. So that is the storm that is currently approaching Lamar County, and that's the best tornado signature we have right now. What I want to do is change the radar. We'll go back to the next red coming from the Shelby County Airport and take a look at the storms. Part of the problem we have here is, in fact, that's our Fayette Skycam where... Right at that storm, looking west. Okay. And again, Fayette, let me just stress, Fayette is not under a tornado warning. Fayette is under no warning whatsoever. This is looking back into Lamar. And again, the problem we're going to have is darkness coming on, and we're just not going to be able to see much. But let's go back to the high-resolution radar, and I'm looking back into Sumter County for these two rotations. Now, part of what you're going to see here, these purple shades, that's a radar telling us it can't really figure out if the echoes are coming toward the radar or away. It's a range folding problem, and it doesn't know. But again, we don't see any really tight evidence of rotation in either one of these right now, but the Weather Service believes that it is still evidence enough to keep those tornado warnings in effect. I'll take off the velocity display and stick on the reflectivity. And again, this shows the core of this line coming through West Alabama. This is punching on through the western part of the state. Tuscaloosa here, Birmingham here. These storms are moving at a pretty good clip. And again, we've seen evidence these are moving at 40, 55, maybe 58 miles an hour. And they're moving to the northeast like this. And all of this will ultimately affect Tuscaloosa. And, you know, one of the questions we always have, people say, is this going to be like April 27th? I don't answer that anymore. April 27, 2011 was generational. The next time we have an event like that, I'll be at Elmwood Cemetery. But all it takes is one tornado in the whole state, and if it happens to come down your street and through your neighborhood, that's your April 27th. So I don't even like to answer that question. This is not that unusual. I stress we have events like this pretty often, November, December, sometimes early January. This is our late fall, early winter tornado season. We all know these things can happen, and it's been pretty quiet, through the early part of the season, but this is just a reminder these things can happen. Let's go back to the graphic system, our main graphic system. And what you've got here, this is a look at the attribute table, and this is for the northern storm, right, in Sumter, Megan? All right. And again, we're looking at the tornado impact here of 0.0, and that's not to say there's no tornado here, but what this is saying is that it's pretty hard to identify this on the radar. This thing is moving northeast at 50 miles an hour, and you can see the possibility of severe-sized hail that's 1 inch or larger in diameter is 20%. Like we've talked about, we don't expect a lot of large hail today. Maximum hail size about a ½ inch. And the wind impact on a scale of 0 to 10 sitting at 4.9. I think perhaps the greatest threat here from the Sumter County storms is strong straight-line winds as opposed to tornado-type winds. But again, if you're in Sumter County, same deal. For both those polygons, be in a safe place. I will say this, and I think they've got it right at the Weather Service. Clearly, the greatest concern right now, it's the storm that is located in Mississippi that is pretty close to the Columbus Air Force Base radar. We'll go back to the high-resolution radar. This is Sumter County right here, and again, the circulation is right here, and that's that gate-to-gate. Jim Stefkovich is working at the Weather Service. He's the meteorologist in charge, and he's indicating that gate-to-gate is getting close to Lamar County. This is the state line. This is Lamar County, Alabama. And again, Vernon is here. Highway 17 is here. Sulligent, Millport down to the south. And again, this is the greatest, I'd say, tornado threat we have on the board right now. So this is a tornado warning for Lamar County. This will be in effect until 5:30 this afternoon. All right, this evening. And again, the rotation is north of Caledonia, and that's going to be pretty close to Vernon. If I kind of expand this thing out just a little bit, and you can clearly see that this is, pretty wrapped up right here, moving like that. Sulligent here, Vernon here, Millport down here. It's a large polygon, and again, I think these guys are doing it right. The Weather Service in Birmingham has gone back to basic science, and they get it right. They've done so many things right, so many things we've all learned. We have to get better. They've improved the false alarm ratio. So many things are much better, but I think this is the right call. If there's a tornado here, it's going to be a smaller one, and certainly it's not going to affect this big part of the county, but because there's perhaps a danger of other small spin-ups getting involved, then it's something we need to just think about. So again, that's a possible tornado coming up into Lamar County that could affect Highway 17, Sulligent, Vernon, down to Millport. Let's go back to our main graphic system. And again, this is going to, we'll take off this attribute table here, and let's expand this thing out. Let me just give you a big view. We'll take a big view of the state. And again, we stress, if you're watching us in Tuscaloosa right now, there are no tornado warnings for you. Same thing for Jefferson County, Anniston and Gadsden here. And this is where we are. These are the three tornado warning polygons we have in West Alabama, and that's the reason we're here. It's all on the western side of the state, and this is where conditions are maximized for severe weather this afternoon. By the way, we should note that the Weather Service is reporting that numerous trees have been uprooted with this storm that is coming out of the Caledonia, Mississippi area up into Lamar County. So the tornado warning for Lamar County continues. The Weather Service, and again, I'll read the text of their warning. And again, this is for this polygon here. They are tracking a confirmed tornado near Bedford, that's 7 miles west of Vernon, moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. Clearly, this is the higher possibility of a tornado, and this seems to be on a warm frontal boundary. We got these very high dew points surging in from the south, and right in through here, this is where the higher possibility of a tornado will be, I think. And again, that is crossing the state line. Vernon sits here. This is Sulligent. You got Millport down here. The greater chance of a tornado will be pretty close to or just north of the city of Vernon. So of all of this part of Lamar County in a polygon, the greatest call to action is going to be for our friends in the city of Vernon, or again, as far north as Sulligent, as far south as Millport. But clearly, nobody should be driving along Highway 17 right now, or State Highway 96, either one. 96 is that main east-west highway. 17 is the main north-south highway until the storms pass, as that is a tornado warning polygon for Lamar County, continues until 5:30. We're not getting reports of trees that are down in that area. So that is one of the 3 active tornado warning polygons. Let's go back to the Sumter County storm on here if we can. Let me just show you what's going down to the south. And again, these storms are going to be approaching the city of Tuscaloosa. The reflectivity values are higher, but the tornado signatures are not as strong. The core danger in this storm, again, this is straddling the Pickens-Sumter-Greene County line. This is the Sipsey River. That's Alabama Highway 14 that runs from Utah back up to Aliceville. And this is crossing Highway 14 now. Within this large rain mass, there is a chance there could be a small tornado in through here, and that's the reason for the tornado warning. We stress in Greene County, the warning does not include the city of Utah, does not include the city of Forkland. It does not include Green Track. If you're anywhere near those cities or those landmarks, this does include the northern part of Greene County, places like West Greene in the city of Union, and that will be kind of straddling the Sipsey River. So if you're at southern Pickens, this is Aliceville, Benevola points south, or in northern Greene, Union, West Greene points north, this is the concern for this. And of course, ultimately, if this continues on this track, it's going to wind up in Tuscaloosa County. Ralph is here, Foster's is here, Northport, Tuscaloosa. So this storm will be in Tuscaloosa County soon. But if there's any good news is the fact that we've just not had a whole lot of evidence of a tornado here. But as a course of least regret, the Weather Service continues the tornado warning. And if we can, let's go back to the high-resolution radar. And I'll say this, it's looking better now. Again, you can see now we're starting to see better evidence of a tornado. This is probably the best-looking signature on velocity we have seen here. So again, we have evidence of a tornado that is coming up around the Sipsey River. That is the border between Pickens County and Greene County, moving northeast. So that is the northernmost storm. Now, down to the south, we have the other storm. And again, this is awfully noisy down in through here. We still have a tornado warning in effect for the Interstate 5920 corridor. This would include places like Livingston and Epps up to the Tom Bigby River. We'll see if the Weather Service opts to extend that. And they're going to leave it up until 5:15 for now. But let me just go back up and show you this other circulation up and through here. And you can see this circulation is very well defined. And the circulation is near the Lamar County Public Lake and moving pretty close to the city of Vernon. So if you are watching us in Lamar County, and if you are close to Vernon, if you're living as far north as Sulligent, as far south as Millport, you're in the polygon. We recommend that you be in a safe place. Let's go back to our main graphic system if we can. And again, it looks like they have trimmed a little bit of the polygon here in Pickens, maybe just a little bit. But the bottom line is this is the southern edge right here. Millport and Kennedy, I can clearly say you're not involved in this now. So if you're in Millport or Kennedy, you can see that the Weather Service has adjusted the polygon here. You're down here, you're not in it. Vernon is in, Sulligent is in, and anybody in this part of the county, this is the core central part of Lamar County, should be in a safe place. Detroit is not in a tornado warning. You're up there out of the polygon. Sulligent, Vernon, you're in the core of this, and again, this is moving east, and this is the best tornado circulation we currently have on radar. Let's go back to the high-res radar, and again, you can see this thing is really wrapped up. That is a very tight circulation. And again, this is near the public lake in Lamar County, and it'll be coming out toward the city of Vernon. More than likely, this thing will be passing a little north of the city itself, but whatever, you're just close. You need to be in a safe place. We encourage people to be in a small room on the lowest floor near the center, away from windows, no mobile homes, no cars. And if you're driving, or if you're hearing this on a radio, or maybe you know somebody that is driving, if you could give them a call and tell them they need to stop, pull off, go into a store, a restaurant, any place they can find a site-built structure, and stay there until this line passes. But this, you can see this thing is spinning like a top. And again, that's getting very close to the city of Vernon. Let's go back to our main graphic system. And again, you can see that the Charles and Megan have the fan out on this, and you can see that if it continues on its current track, a warning is going to be required for Fayette. We just don't know that yet, but it's a possibility. And the other thing we want to stress, there could be more than one circulation going on here. This is going to be a chaotic kind of day. It's not going to be like a day in April or May. You can really focus on that one intense circulation. But the bottom line is we do have one pretty good one now that's approaching Vernon. The Weather Service says there's another circulation developing west of Sulligent, and that's the reason Sulligent is in the tornado warning polygon as well. So even though you got the fan here that looks fairly small, understand there could be another circulation approaching Sulligent. So again, everybody in Lamar County, Vernon, Sulligent, you need to be in a safe place until this thing passes. The warnings will continue in effect until 5:30 for Lamar County. We'll go back to the Fayette Skycam. We'll do, Fayette is here kind of looking back into this. And again, we stress that Fayette is not under a warning, but that's looking back off to the west. We're about to lose the daylight. The days are pretty short these days. But let's go back to the high-resolution radar behind me, and let me just read you an update on this warning from the Weather Service. And again, that's the circulation you see right here. I mean, again, this is a very tight circulation. It's going to be passing north of Vernon, and again, very strong winds. If nothing else, strong straight-line winds could affect the city of Sulligent. We have a confirmed tornado 5 miles west of Vernon. A second tornado may be developing 3 miles west of Sulligent. These tornadoes were located along a line that's in far western Lamar County, moving northeast at 45 miles an hour. So we have the obvious tornadic circulation that is here. And again, this is the radar we're using. It's got a great look into this. It's very close. So this is a good low-level scan. Evidence of a tornado just west of the city of Vernon that's going to be near or just north of the city of Vernon. People there should stay in a safe place. We have evidence of a second circulation you see right here that's not too far from Sulligent, and the same thing. And even with straight line winds, these could knock down a whole lot of trees, and you want to be in a safe place one way or the other. So this is a tornado warning that includes the cities of Sulligent and Vernon in Lamar County. It does not include the southern end of the county, Millport or Kennedy. You are not involved in this now. This includes Vernon and Sulligent up in the northern end of the county. And very quickly, when I go back down to our southern storms, you can see that we have evidence of storm circulation here. This looks relatively broad, but this circulation is coming up into the far northern part of Greene County. This is Utah. That's the Interstate 5920. If you're in Greene County on the interstate, there's no tornado warning in effect for Greene County for Interstate 5920. And so many people are driving back from New Orleans, Louisiana, from the Sugar Bowl. We're trying to give people some specific highway information here. If you're in Greene County on Interstate 5920, you'll have rain and storms, but in terms of the tornado threat in Greene County, the threat is north of you. And again, that'll be coming right up on the city of, the community of Union. That's an unincorporated city north of Utah. And ultimately, it could affect southwest Tuscaloosa County. Also involved in this warning is the community of Jenna. Jenna is in Greene County. That's where baseball country is located. And this circulation is going to come up into southwest Tuscaloosa County. We haven't heard of any damage here, and this is a fairly broad circulation. We don't know if the Weather Service will continue the warning for Tuscaloosa County or not. We're just saying it's something to watch. And if you live in Ralph or Foster's or Romulus or Buell, any of these communities out here in the southwest part of Tuscaloosa County, just kind of pay close attention. And if we get a warning, we'll let you know right away. You can go to a safe place. But again, for now, the Weather Service is not issuing a tornado warning for Tuscaloosa County, as the circulation here is broad. And again, we have the other circulation, same thing. This is pretty noisy. This is coming along Interstate 5920 around Epps, between Livingston and Epps. They're keeping the tornado warning up down there just as a course of least regret. And this is where we don't want people driving. Nobody should be driving along Interstate 5920 in Sumter County between Livingston and the Tombigbee River. So that's the southern activity. Let's go back up to the northern. Goodness. All right. Now, you can see those two rotations. I mean, this is clearly perhaps the greatest trouble we have. But understand now, as you look at this, what we saw down in Sumter County, the radar beam is very high, several thousand feet up. This radar beam is very low, and that's the reason they're looking different. But still, this is representative of strong straight-line winds and potential of a tornado. Circulation 1, circulation 2. The northernmost circulation is near Sulligent. The southernmost circulation is going to pass near or just north of downtown Vernon. And again, we encourage everybody to be in a safe place until these things pass. We are watching many reports of coming in through social media and through the Weather Service and through various outlets we have, but so far I've yet to see any specific damage reports. But I would not be, and I take that back, we've had one report of trees down with this line near the Mississippi state line, and I would imagine trees are being blown down right now, and as these cross over Highway 17 that's fairly populated, more than likely we're going to get more reports of trees down. So again, the reason we are here, we have tornado warnings in effect for several counties in the western side of Alabama, specifically Lamar County. And again, this is two circulations here, one passing near or just north of Vernon, one very close to Sulligent. And within this, we have strong evidence of strong straight line winds. This could produce a lot of tree and power line damage as it comes on across the county. This could knock down a whole lot of trees and power lines, not from a tornado, but because of straight line winds. And then down to the south, we have other warnings in effect for parts of Sumter and Greene and Pickens counties. If we can, let's go back to our watch warning map. This is going to be the big picture. And by the way, y'all, I sent a link to the stream over there to Megan. And okay. 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 We'll get that fixed in just a second. But anyway, here we go. This is the big picture. The counties in green, this is a flash flood watch. The counties in purple, this is the tornado watch. This is until 8 o'clock. This includes Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Jasper, Double Springs, Centerville, Brent, Marion, Demopolis, Greensboro, points west. You can see we have 3 tornado warning polygons in the state. We have the smallest, that's for that circulation coming up along Interstate 5920. This is for the one along the Sipsey River. This is where Greene and Pickens counties come together. It's for the northern part of Greene, the far southern part of Pickens. And I stress, as you look at this, if you're in Reform or Gordo, there is no tornado warning for you here. If you're in Utah or Forkland, no tornado warning for you. This is for a fairly sparsely populated part of northern Greene, southern Pickens, along the Sipsey River. This includes places like West Greene, Union, and Jenna. Up here in Lamar County, we have a tornado warning in effect, and really that seems to be the greatest evidence of circulation we have. And again, that includes Vernon and Sulligent. And other than that, that's it. We don't have any other warnings. And if you're over here in the eastern side of the state, we have no issues other than a flash flood watch. And in terms of the overall risk for tonight, the risk for East Alabama is much lower. It's a marginal risk. The standard slight risk is along and west of I-65, and the enhanced risk is right in through here on the day one convective outlook. So let's go back to the high-res radar, and I'll show you 2 spots that are just really problems here. Right here, right here. Doesn't take much to see that. And these are spots where there could be a tornado down, producing damage. So we encourage, again, nobody should be driving along Highway 17, obviously. This is U.S. Highway 278, runs from Guin back down to Sulligent. And understand, if this continues, the Weather Service will probably have to put up a tornado warning for at least parts of Marion County. They'll make that decision shortly. We are watching very carefully, see how the Weather Service handles this, because we have storms coming up on Tuscaloosa County, storms coming up on Marion and Fayette counties. And within a matter of moments, we'll be able to get a reading on them, what they're going to do with this. But clearly the call to action, people in Lamar County, Sulligent, back up to Beaverton here. That's U.S. Highway 278. You should be in a safe place. Vernon, people live along Highway 96 down here. Same thing. You want to be in a good, safe place because we have 2 strong locations where there's rotation here on the radar. Let's go back to the big picture, if you will, the main graphic system. And again, you can see we have some storms in East Alabama. These are not severe. Storms approaching Tuscaloosa from the south and west. We have tornado warnings in effect for those people near the Sipsey River along the Pickens-Greene County line. In this segment up and through here, producing the problems you've seen in Lamar County. But other than that, that's all we have in terms of the warnings right now. We are hoping that once the sun goes down, the air becomes a bit more stable. Things calm down later this evening. This is the Skycam network. This is the Fayette County Courthouse. And obviously, our friends in Fayette County are watching the Lamar County storms carefully. We have seen very, very frequent cloud-to-ground lightning. That's the Fayette County Courthouse. The tornado warning for Lamar County will continue until 5:30. And again, the Weather Service has identified 2 possible embedded tornadoes in Lamar County. One was just about 4 miles north of Vernon. The other was north of Cruz. That's not too far from Sulligent, moving northeast at 45. And we have heard of no damage from the southern storms. Let's go to our Skycam if we can. We'll go back to the Skycam. We'll go to Livingston, the camera that's on the campus of the University of West Alabama. We've had a series of these storms with the evidence of rotation coming through this part of Sumter County. And you can see everything looks fine there. This is on the campus of the University of West Alabama. Still very high dew points. It is a ripe, juicy air mass. Wind out of the southwest at 15. But the good thing about the wind being out of the southwest at 15, that lessens the degree of helicity or the veering of the wind with altitude. When you see the wind out of the southeast in the low levels, that's more problematic. So hopefully that wind shift to a southwest direction will improve conditions or at least reduce the chance of additional tornadoes down there. Let's go back to the high-res radar. And again, this is pretty impressive. We are watching 2 spots, as you can see, right here and right here. All right, this is pretty decent evidence of 2, perhaps, tornadoes. And I can't tell. You know, people say, you look at this, is this an F1, F0, EF3? We don't know. You don't rank tornadoes looking at radar. You rank them by looking at damage that they cause. So we can't look at this and tell you what size tornadoes these are. We can look at the environmental conditions and have a rough idea of what to expect. We don't expect the violent long-track tornadoes today. But let me tell you something. You get an EF0, EF1 coming through your neighborhood, that's a big deal, and that can be life-threatening. So we treat all tornadoes the same, all tornado warnings the same. But again, potential for a tornado that's near or just north of U.S. Highway 278. And again, if that continues on that track, it'll be coming up into Lamar County. Now, the good news that the Weather Service is beginning to expire these tornado warnings. The first one they just expired is the southernmost storm in Sumter County. They're not going to extend that. So again, for those, and what that's done here, this is going to enable us to say traffic along Interstate 5920 is good. Let's go back to the main graphic system. This is the warning the Weather Service is just canceling right here. So Interstate 5920 will be free of tornado warnings now. And again, a lot of people are traveling on that route coming in from the southwest. The warnings we have in effect now, this one and this one. We have 2 in effect for our state, for the western side of the state. Again, the Weather Service has canceled this one. We have a tornado warning in effect for northern Greene and southern Pickens. This is for rural parts of West Alabama near the Sipsey River. And you can see if that circulation stays intact, it might wind up in Tuscaloosa County. We'll wait and see what the Weather Service will do about that. And then in Lamar County, we have 2 circulations here coming up perhaps toward Marion County, and we'll see if the Weather Service extends these on out. The counties in purple, this is a tornado watch in effect until 8 o'clock tonight, and everybody over the northern third of the state under a flash flood watch as well. So let's go back to our high-res radar, and this gives us the best look at the circulation in Lamar County. And again, let me give you an all clear. This is the one thing we like to do, is give all clears. If you are now in Sulligent or Vernon, we can give you an all clear. The circulations are well east of you. So for those of you on Highway 17 and points west, the risk of a tornado is over from this storm. The greatest risk of a possible tornado will be in this northeastern part of Lamar County, near Beaverton along Highway 78. Now we got a tornado warning for Marion County. What the Weather Service is going to do is extend this on out into Marion County. And this, I'll tell you now, is going to include Guin. So if you're in the city of Guin or in the city of Winfield, this will include you. Let's go back to our main graphic system. Let me show you who's in and who's out. Here's our new warning for Marion County in northwest Alabama. Right up here, we'll zoom into this. And I might take that back. I said Winfield is in it. No, it's not. Winfield is not. It's a little surprising. That might change, but the Weather Service is issuing a warning for that northern circulation. So we have a tornado warning in effect now for Marion County. This includes the city of Hamilton. It includes the city of Hackleburg. It includes the city of Brilliant. It includes the city of Bear Creek. This is basically a pretty good chunk of the county. And I wouldn't be surprised if another warning pops up down here for the south end of the county as well, because we have 2 distinct circulations here. If we can go to our Hamilton Skycam, we have a series of these things up here. We have one at Hamilton High School, and we have another one at the Strata Station. This is the Skycam that is located at Hamilton High School. It's right there by the football stadium, and the dew point's up to 63. You know, in addition to checking the sky, we also like to check the numbers here, and that's obviously a little lower than Sumter County and Greene County, but still, that's a very ripe air mass for severe weather, and it looks like it's pouring rain here. And I will say there is evidence, perhaps, of a circulation pretty close to Hamilton. I've got 3 I'm watching on radar right now. And if you live in Hamilton, my advice, go to a safe place. Small room, lowest floor, near the center, away from windows. You see people driving over there. That's, I believe that's US 43. And again, that's at the football stadium at Hamilton High School. If you're within the sound of my voice, we encourage you to be off the road. Whatever you need to do, stop at a convenience store, a gas station. Anything is better than a car. Go into some type of site-built structure and get off the road. So for those of you in Marion County, you're under a tornado warning for the circulations that are coming out of Lamar. In fact, let me show you. Let's go back to the high-res radar. Let me just show you what we got here. 1, 2, 3. All right. The northernmost circulation is going to be very close to the city of Hamilton. This is the middle circulation. I'm telling you, it's going to be coming up pretty close to Guin. If you're in the city of Guin, I would go to a safe place. Hamilton and Guin both. And obviously, we don't want anybody traveling along Interstate 22. Interstate 22 is the main interstate highway, Corridor X, if you will, through here. Nobody should be traveling on that route. That's the main route from Birmingham to Memphis. But circulation number 1 is approaching Hamilton. Circulation number 2 is approaching Guin. The southern circulation down here, that's going to be affecting maybe Winfield. And even though technically you're not in the polygon, that's the edge of the polygon there. Guin is in, Winfield is out. If you're in Winfield, I'd just go ahead and go to a safe place based on the fact that we have 3 circulations to the west of you. Number 1, number 2, and number 3. All right, tornado warning for Tuscaloosa County. So, this is going to be for the storm that is coming out of Greene. All right, so here we go. This is tornado warning for Tuscaloosa County. This is the circulation. It's relatively broad, but it could tighten up. We've seen it tighter than this. It's cyclical, and this will include the city of Tuscaloosa. So again, we have a possible tornadic circulation that is now north of Union in Greene County. This is in North Greene County that'll be crossing the county line, moving out of Pickens and Greene, and again, it's basically riding up the Sipsey River that'll be crossing into the western part of Tuscaloosa County. So if you live anywhere from Ralph to Romulus to Buell to Elrod to Coker, we want you to be in a safe place. Let's go back to our main graphic system. I want to show the actual polygon, and this does include the city of Tuscaloosa, at least a large part of the city of Tuscaloosa. This is the edge of the polygon here, and you can see that it just clips Interstate 5920. But the bottom line is, from Interstate 5920 north, you want to be in a safe place. Again, this is Coker. You got Romulus here, Foster's, Ralph, Northport, Tuscaloosa. This includes the University of Alabama. It includes those people that live around Lake Tuscaloosa. So we have a tornado warning now in effect for Tuscaloosa County. As you know, we have a number of sky cams. Let's go to, first off, the sky cam that's on the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse. We're going to look back into this from the that view, and we're in darkness now, and all we're going to be able to show you is probably a shelf cloud and a lot of lightning. But as we look at that together, we like to see the parameters. We've got the southeast wind in Tuscaloosa with a dew point sitting at 65, and again, that is pretty right. Now, the tornado warning for Greene and Tuscaloosa, this is going to be in effect until 5:45 this afternoon. So we have multiple circulations in West Alabama. We have tornado warnings in effect for northern Greene, for parts of Tuscaloosa County. We have a tornado warning in effect for Lamar County, for parts of Marion County. All of these are in West Alabama. And again, we thank you for watching us. If you're watching us on television or the live stream, we will be with you through this situation. We've had some reports of trees down with the storms in West Alabama. Let's go back to the radar, and let me just kind of show you what we got here. And again, this is the big picture, and you can see these clusters of storms in West Alabama that are in some cases producing circulations that have prompted these tornado warnings today. Let's go back to the high-resolution radar very quickly. And again, this is going to... Okay, it's not up. We'll check that in just a second. But again, this is going to be a situation where we've got people in multiple counties will need to do something today. We'll need folks that are in Tuscaloosa County, including the city of Tuscaloosa, to go into a safe place. We're going to need people that are in Marion County and Hamilton and Guin to be in a safe place. People near Beaverton and Lamar County to be in a safe place. All of these communities are in a situation where we have potential for tornadoes today. And again, it's going to be a day where these tornadoes more than likely are not the large violent tornadoes, but all it takes is a smaller one, and it can cause a whole lot of damage and be a direct threat to life and property. And we've got over in the office, Charles and Megan are both in here today. And again, we're watching reports. What you're seeing back here, that is a storm attribute table. And again, you can see we're watching the tornado impact number. And this is a day where you're seeing a lot of zeros. And which storm? Is this for the Tuscaloosa storm? The top one, the Pickens County, moving into Tuscaloosa. So this is a storm moving into Tuscaloosa County. All right. And again, you know, the rotation has been fairly broad down here, and that's one of the reasons we're not seeing these big numbers. But nonetheless, we encourage people to still go to a safe place. It's moving northeast at 55 miles an hour. And, you know, the chance of severe hail is just not there. These are storms that are not going to be producing large hail. The main issue, it's going to be strong straight line winds. And the thing I want to stress down here, a lot of these storms are going to produce damaging straight line winds. And really, it doesn't matter if it's a tornado or damaging straight line winds. You need to know about it. So we'll take off the attribute table. Let's zoom back into the storm that is approaching Tuscaloosa. And again, the polygon, as you can see here, this kind of splits the city of Tuscaloosa in half. I'd say the southern edge of the polygon runs basically along that April 27th tornado track. It's out around University Mall and DCH and down here near Stillman College. Still, if you're in the city limits of Tuscaloosa, I'd be in a safe place because of the nature of what we have coming in from the west. But the polygon does include places like Ralph and Coker and Buell and Elrod and Romulus. It includes Lake Tuscaloosa. It includes Samantha. That's Highway 171, basically Brownville back into Northport. Those are the places in the current polygon here. So this is a tornado warning that is in effect for the city of Tuscaloosa that will be in effect this evening until 6 o'clock.
James, conditions are really starting to deteriorate on the Skycam. Really bad.
Now let's take a look at the Skycam from Hamilton.
You can see here, it's just a torrential downpour at this point, but that circulation is right on top of this camera, or getting very close to the city of Hamilton now. We saw that on the high-resolution radar, which I think our Apple TV needs to reconnect. You're working on that now, I see. But yeah, it's getting really heavy rain moving near the high school at this point. At one point, we couldn't even see the lights right there. That's how heavy it was. So encourage everybody to be off the roads, be in your safe place. If you're in Hamilton, this is going to head up towards Hackleburg, Bear Creek. Haleyville's not officially in the warning, but you guys might want to go ahead and start putting into motion that plan. That also includes Phil Campbell. Yeah, you know, you guys also one of those April 27th cities that hit hard. So you know what to do, you know where to go. Go ahead and start putting that plan into action now. But conditions really getting bad at that Skycam there. And the rain now lightening up, but the wind just a moment ago was awful moving through Hamilton.
And just to note, the tornado warning for Lamar County has now been canceled.
So let's go back to this high-resolution radar, Dennis. And again, this is the circulation that is coming up on Tuscaloosa from the southwest. And we encourage everybody in the western end of the county, Ralph and Foster's and Romulus and Buell and Elrod, Coker. If you live anywhere out here west of Tuscaloosa, be in a safe place, and certainly the city of Tuscaloosa itself, the campus of the University of Alabama, Northport, Lake Tuscaloosa, all the way up to Samantha. This is a circulation that continues to look fairly impressive, coming right up toward that core part of Tuscaloosa County. So that is circulation number one. Let me show you these other circulations up here to the north. And again, we have two clear circulations that are coming up through Marion County. And as Megan said, the warning for Lamar County is expired. We have a tornado warning in effect for Marion for these two circulations. One is near Guin, one is near Hamilton. And you saw the action coming from the Hamilton Skycam. These will continue to move to the northeast. Hackleburg is here. Bear Creek is here. You're in the tornado warning. You need to be in your safe place. The rotation coming out of Guin is coming up on Brilliant. And we'll see if this continues that northeastern track. And if we continue to see that, that, of course, means that we could very well have a tornado warning needed for Winston County. Let's go back to our Tuscaloosa Skycam, and again, we're going to bounce back and forth. And again, the warnings for Lamar have been canceled. We stress that. So we have tornado warnings now for Marion and for Tuscaloosa. And it's going to be a situation where today it's going to be very hard to see specific features because of darkness, but again, that is what you see there is a shelf cloud, a big storm complex coming into Tuscaloosa. This is from our sky cam on top of the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse. And obviously the lightning is pretty rough, and this is obviously not a time to be driving. The tornado warning polygon in Tuscaloosa County clips the Interstate 5920, so nobody should be driving on the interstate. Nobody should be driving, period. You should be off the road. Go to a restaurant, gas station, whatever place you can find. Nobody should be on the second floor of an apartment complex. Nobody should be on the second floor of any site-built home or structure. You've got to be down low. You do not have to be underground to survive this. That's a misconception. You just have to be on the first floor of a good, well-constructed building, small room, hall, closet, bathroom, away from windows and near the center of the house. It's not that hard. No mobile homes. You got to get out of those and get to a site-built structure. And again, no vehicles. And again, that is a severe storm that is coming up on the city of Tuscaloosa. We have a tornado warning that is currently in effect for Tuscaloosa County until, let's see, the warning is up for Tuscaloosa until 5:45. We have a tornado warning for Marion County until 6 o'clock. But again, that's the situation there. Let's go back to the high-resolution radar real quickly. We'll kind of bounce back and forth between Marion County and Tuscaloosa County and the radar. So if you can punch me back up on the wall, Dennis, with the radar. Again, this is the circulation here that's coming up on this part of Tuscaloosa County. And again, it includes the city of Tuscaloosa, the city of Northport, the campus of the University of Alabama. It includes Lake Tuscaloosa. It includes Samantha. This includes Foster's, Romulus, Ralph, Elrod, and Buell. If you're in any of these places, be in a safe place. Is this one of these large, violent, long-track tornadoes? No, but it takes a smaller one to produce the threat to life and property, and you have to take these seriously, even in a case like this, where this might be a tornado that's down for a while, gets off the ground for a while, comes back down for a while. We've got reports of trees down in parts of Lamar County from the storms that are now into Marion, but we have not heard of any specific reports of damage, which is good, from this storm as it came through parts of Sumter and Greene and Pickens. There could be some damage. And again, this circulation came through a very rural part of West Alabama. But at this point, we have not heard of any specific damage. Now, what I'm going to do is change the radar back over to the Columbus, Mississippi NextRad, and you can see clearly the two circulations we have here in Lamar County. So this is circulation number 1. This came through Hamilton. And this is circulation number 2. This came through Guin. These are both moving northeast. And again, you've got Hackleburg and Bear Creek up here. You've got the town of Brilliant right here. Obviously, nobody should be traveling along Interstate 22. Ultimately, these rotations will be passing north of Interstate 22 soon, but still, I would stay certainly off the highway. In fact, the southernmost circulation here should be pretty close to the interstate highway, but these are still looking pretty impressive on radar as they continue moving up in that direction. This U.S. Highway 278 right here, this is the highway that leads east out of Hamilton back over toward Natural Bridge, and again, nobody should be driving along that. So a tornado warning in effect for Marion County. In a few minutes, we can give you an all clear in Hamilton. I can give you an all clear in Guin. If you're in Guin, you're all clear from this. So that's the situation in Marion County. We'll go back to the Tuscaloosa County situation. And these are the two storms we're working. We have 3 distinct circulations, 2 in Marion County, 1 here in Tuscaloosa County. And this is a bit more noisy. Again, this is the data coming from the NextRad at Columbus Air Force Base. The problem we have with the Columbus radar is that they have a large growth of trees, and that can prevent this from working well at a great distance. So let me put back on the Birmingham NextRad. And again, this is pretty noisy. Look, I'm not saying there's no tornado here. I'm just saying it's noisy, and sometimes that means the circulation is not particularly tight. But the Weather Service is going to continue a tornado warning for Tuscaloosa County. They've canceled it for Greene. The rotation is out of Greene County. The tornado is moving northeast at 40, potential tornado. And again, it's going to be coming up in this direction like this. It passed over the community of Jenna, that is in the far northeastern part of Greene County. And again, that's going to be coming up right into perhaps the northern part of the Tuscaloosa Metro, the city of Northport, Coker, Tuscaloosa right here. Let's go back to our sky cam again. I want to pick the one that's on top of the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse. And we obviously see a tremendous lightning display. But we got southeast winds at 13, and again, you go off the ground for a little bit, the winds veer back to the southwest, a good bit of low-level helicity. and that could set the stage for rotating updrafts. But again, I wish I could tell you we're going to see a lot on these cameras, but because of the darkness and the fact that these are rain-wrapped, we're just not. The tornadoes, more than likely, if they're there, they're short-lived, and these are going to be very hard to find. But the Weather Service has done a remarkable job today of identifying good circulations, putting out tornado warnings in a timely fashion, not jumping the gun for marginal rotations. And again, every tornado warning we've seen is very valid today. We should also mention the Weather Service is posting up an aerial flood advisory for parts of Greene, Lamar, Pickens, and Sumter. Flash flooding is the other element that we could see here. So, again, let's go back to the high-res radar. And I tell you what, if we can go back to our main graphic system, I want to see the polygons only. We'll take the radar data off. Want to see polygon data only. I think the Weather Service has adjusted the Tuscaloosa tornado warning polygon a little bit. We'll go into this and let's see. We're looking for the polygons only. And I can give you perhaps what we'd like to do in a case like this is to let people know who's in and who's out, who's in the polygon, who's out of the polygon. And as I look at the new data I'm seeing here, it looks like they have taken more of the city of Tuscaloosa out, which is a good thing. So let's zoom into this and we can go tighter on that. I'll show you who's in and who's out. And if we can, I'll do it on the system we have here that I control.
I'll tell you what, it just disappeared on the system. So let's do it on yours.
They
canceled
it.
They just canceled it as we were zooming in.
Right. So
excellent.
Right. I'm just saying, I'm not seeing anything. So the tornado warning for Tuscaloosa County has been canceled. Again, the tornado warning for Tuscaloosa County has been canceled. That means that you can, if you are in a safe place in Tuscaloosa County, you are okay. That rotation is just pretty much gone. I can't see it. So let's go back up to Marion County. We are down to one county under a tornado warning, and that's up in the northwestern part of the state in Marion County. And let's go to the high resolution. By the way, you saw Hamilton give you an all clear. Hamilton and Ewan, all clear for you from a tornado danger. Now, you're going to have rain and storms, but in terms of a tornado danger for the city of Hamilton, the city of Ewan, the danger is over for you. Still in the polygon, you've got Bear Creek, Hackleburg, Brilliant. They've taken Brilliant out, areas just north of there. So let's go back to the radar, and again, you can see these two distinct circulations, and this is the dominant circulation. This is the one that came through Hamilton. We've heard of no reports, by the way, of damage from there. And again, if you just missed it a second ago, but I want to stress that the Tuscaloosa County tornado warning has expired. No tornado warning for Tuscaloosa County, no warnings of any type. For Tuscaloosa County, we have one county under a warning, and it's this one. This is Marion County in northwest Alabama. So again, we've got this lead circulation. If you're in Hackleburg or Bear Creek, you want to be in a safe place. The southern circulation is coming up. It'll be crossing Highway 278 about 5 miles west of Natural Bridge. And we'll see how the Weather Service handles this. They might...
It's interesting to note that Weather Service out of Huntsville has already issued a severe thunderstorm warning out ahead of this for Colbert and Franklin County.
Yeah.
So interesting that they've gone ahead and done that just to go ahead and get that out. For that includes the folks in Phil Campbell.
Yep. So again, Phil Campbell is in Franklin County right here. There's a lot of sensitivity here because the EF5, April 27, 2011, came through these two communities, and obviously there's still some fatigue after that. There's going to be fatigue for years after that kind of thing. But again, we've got a pretty good circulation that's very close to Hackleburg. And again, that'll be crossing over into Franklin County. The Weather Service in Huntsville putting out a severe thunderstorm warning up here, not a tornado warning. But still, if you're in Phil Campbell or Hackleburg, be in a safe place. It'll make you feel better. It's just the right thing to do. And again, that's pretty good circulation. The second circulation down to the south, that is also coming up. It's basically on Highway 278 right here. Highway 278 runs from Hamilton back over to Natural Bridge and Addison, then back over to Cullman. And we'll see how the Weather Service handles Winston County. The next issue with this will be, what do you do with Winston County? And the Weather Service in the next minute or two will make a decision whether they're going to issue a tornado warning or go with a severe thunderstorm warning. So, again, we are in a situation where the warning for Tuscaloosa County has been canceled. I want to stress that. We have no tornado warnings in our end of the state except for one, and it's this one. This is for Marion County in northwest Alabama. We have pretty strong circulation in the community of Hackleburg, and this is looking from the Columbus Air Force Base NexRad right into this. We're looking right in the low levels, and it's got good circulation here. We've had reports of downed trees with these circulations, by the way, and as we stress, even if we don't have tornadic circulations, we can see strong straight line winds that could knock down a lot of trees and power lines in through here. So circulation one, circulation number two, moving to the northeast. Let's go back to our big radar if we can. This is kind of a big picture. We're working off multiple radar systems, and again, this is a look at the line of storms coming through Marion County. And again, Hamilton, all clear.Gue and Winfield, all clear for you. If you are in those cities, all of this is past you now. The line of storms stretching from Hackleburg down to Brilliant, down to Winfield. As you saw with the velocity display, we have two distinct circulations in here, and that's the beauty of Doppler radar. We've had it since the 90s, but I'm telling you, it's something we couldn't live without now, in that we can see within a storm these areas of circulation that we could not see otherwise. Back in the old days of reflectivity only, we'd have to rely on reports and look for shapes, and boy, that was so hard to do. This is Winston County here. This is Haleyville. This is Natural Bridge, and we're going to see if these circulations continue. And again, I would say the Weather Service, within a matter of minutes, will make a decision on what to do. What they do, and they look at damage reports, they look at radar trends, they look at the environment, and they'll make a good decision on this. They have a full staff dedicated to the warning desk, and if they believe the warnings need to be carried out into Winston County, they will do that. Obviously, the largest city in Winston County, right in the path of this stuff, is Haleyville here. Haleyville sits right on the county line almost. You cross over into Marion County, Bear Creek sits right up in through here. And again, this is Franklin County. This is Phil Campbell right here. And again, that large tornado in 2011 came right in through here. So let's go back to our velocity display off the high-resolution radar. And again, this is coming off the Columbus Air Force Base. And again, I would say that this is clearly the most dominant circulation here near Hackleburg. We're kind of watching these other areas to the south. Those look more like straight-line winds. The warning for Marion County continues until 6 o'clock. And I'll just read the text of the warning here. National Weather Service radar indicates a severe squall line capable of producing damaging straight-line winds and brief rain-wrapped tornadoes. That's a great way of describing this. These dangerous storms were along the line from Hackleburg down to Brilliant and Winfield, and again, they're moving on to the northeast, and next in line is Winston County. Highway 5 comes out of Jasper, Nauvoo, Lynn, Natural Bridge, Highway 278 here, Haleyville, and Double Springs is here, and we'll see how the Weather Service handles this. One way or the other, it certainly could be a situation where there could be some strong straight-line winds, and if there's not a tornado warning, the Weather Service would certainly consider a severe thunderstorm warning with this. So again, that's a situation here, and if you missed it, Tuscaloosa County, nothing for you. The tornado warning was canceled about 15 minutes ago. Let's go back to our big radar. Let me give you a big picture. Let's just show you the big view. Wherever you happen to be, take a look. We've had no issues for East Alabama. The risk is marginal here. I don't think we can pull up that day one convective outlook, but over here we have a marginal risk. It's a lower end risk. That is the lowest end threat. The standard slight risk from I-65 back off to the west, okay, and that's the standard risk. We've had this enhanced risk right in through here for Pickens, Green, and Sumter. I would imagine that enhanced risk will go away on the update from the Storm Prediction Center this evening, and we'll still have this slight risk up in through here. But no warnings for Tuscaloosa County. You've got storms approaching from the west. In fact, no warnings for any part of Alabama, at least on this end of the state, except for that right there. That is the tornado warning in effect for the northeastern corner of Marion County. This would include the city of Hackleburg. It includes Bear Creek. Yes, sir. Charles is raising his hand.
I'm just letting the producers know I'm pulling up the day one convective outlook on the Weather Center MacBook, if we want to pull that up. But they were also asking me if I heard them, so I'm giving them the thumbs up. So we're good.
We're learning our hand signals back here in the office. But
if it's important, I'll jump.
There you go. Jump when it's important. Raise your hand when it's not important.
Right.
So far so good. We'll go back to the high res radar. We'll bounce back and forth between the two, and again, we're watching. That's the dominant circulation, and quite frankly, it's relatively broad now. We have evidence of high winds within the line of storms, and that's approaching Winston County. So We will see, and again, so far the Weather Service is holding off for Winston County. They might opt with no warning. And understand, let me give you the definition. To be severe, a storm has to have winds of 58 miles per hour or greater, or hail 1 inch in diameter or larger. These storms aren't going to have large hail. The atmospherics don't favor that. So if the Weather Service thinks the winds in this thing are below 58 miles an hour, they will not issue a warning because the warning won't verify. And that might be the situation here. But again, rotation is near Hackleburg, and we advise everybody in Hackleburg and Bear Creek to still be in a safe place. The Weather Service in Huntsville has gone with a severe thunderstorm warning for Franklin County, not a tornado warning. The air is a little more stable as you work your way to the north, and that's certainly a good thing. But again, if you're in Phil Campbell and if you're watching me and if it makes you feel good, go to a safe place. You know, we've got broad rotation here, and that'll be coming right up on you out of Hackleburg. And again, I looking at this, it just looks broad. This does not look like a classic tornado on radar, but there's certainly a sign of strong winds in here, and that's what we talked about before. If you get straight line winds of 50 or 60 miles an hour knocking down trees, that's just as big of a deal as a small tornado coming through. So you want to be in a safe place. Falling trees can produce a lot of injury and damage. The other problem we have now that it's dark, people are driving, and of course you shouldn't be driving in the midst of a tornado warning, but some people do. And if there's a tree down on a road, it's pouring rain, it's dark, you can't see it. We've had many people over the years that have really been injured by that. Yeah, I'm seeing that. So we do not have a tornado warning for Winston. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for Winston. So what this means is that we are going to be in a situation where we're not going to have any tornado warnings in the state. So for those people in-house, it looks as though we can start the 6 o'clock news on time. We do not expect to have tornado warnings at this point at 6 o'clock. So we have a regularly scheduled newscast on ABC 3340 at 6 o'clock. That's coming up in 20 minutes. So we're going to plan on starting the newscast in 20 minutes. We'll keep it here with weather until 6 o'clock. And, of course, if we have tornado warnings, we'll stay here. You know the way it works. We cut off whatever we have to cut off to stay with weather. But since the warning for Marion County will expire at 6 and the storms are clearly coming out. In fact, let me take off the velocity, stick on the reflectivity. You can see those storms are going to be exiting Marion County pretty soon. This is this one small tornado warning polygon that continues for this northeastern tip of Marion County. Let's go back to the big graphics, if we will, the main graphic system. Again, this is the line of storms here in West Alabama, and you can see it runs from near Phil Campbell down to Bear Creek, down to Brilliant. And this is a severe thunderstorm warning polygon for Winston County. This is not a tornado warning, so we stress the Weather Service has opted no tornado warning for Winston, but a severe thunderstorm warning. The winds here could exceed 50 miles an hour. That could knock down trees and power lines. If you feel like you need to go to a safe place, you go to a safe place. I mean, you do what's best for your family. This line will be coming through places like Haleyville, Addison, Double Springs, Lynn in the next 30 minutes, and it could produce winds maybe gusting in excess of 50 miles an hour. To verify the warning, the winds have to hit 58 at some point in here. And that'll keep on rolling to the northeast. But the good news is you work your way down to the south. We have not had any reports of high winds, of tornadoes, and we have no warnings to the south of this. So again, the warning for Tuscaloosa County, that went away. Let's expand this out. Let me just show you the big view. And again, let's go from the Columbus radar back to the Birmingham radar here. This is the Columbus Air Force Base radar. This is the Birmingham next rad. And again, there's your line of storms. It's moving into Tuscaloosa, but there are no signs at all of any weather that is severe by classic definition, 58 mile per hour winds or greater, or a tornado, or large hail. We do have, let's check the Skycam network if we can do that. Maybe we got the Tuscaloosa Skycam we can show. This is Haleyville, and yeah, we've got a lightning show that's nonstop if you're there. Obviously, a lot of people in Tuscaloosa County are concerned about the weather, but we stress, after our review, the Weather Service review, no evidence of a tornado here. You've got a ferocious storm. It is loud. The rain is tremendously heavy, but the winds are well below severe limits. You can see the wind at the Tuscaloosa County Courthouse is at 17. That's an average, by the way, a 1 minute average. The dew point sitting at 65. It is a tremendous light show. With very heavy rain, but no evidence of any tornado activity, and that's the reason the tornado warning was allowed to, be canceled earlier by the Weather Service. And we're down to one tornado warning. It is for the far northeast corner of Marion County in northwest Alabama. It includes places like Hackleburg and Bear Creek, and that's it. And that warning will expire in 15 minutes, and I think the Weather Service will cancel it before then because the storms will move out of the county before 6 o'clock more than likely. But obviously this is one of our, this is the Haleyville Skycam. That's a good shot, Charles and Megan. Thank you.
West-southwest.
Right, again, this is looking back to the southwest from Haleyville, and the lightning obviously there not as excessive as the lightning we saw in Tuscaloosa. But still, this storm is going to pack a punch. You can see the environmental conditions are very ripe with a high dew point of 62. And as the line of storms comes through Winston County, and again, what you've got here, it is a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado warning. But we'll keep an eye on that. You can see straight line winds that might exceed 50 miles per hour in spots. Seeing a note here from the Weather Service that they're watching some broad circulation that is in northern Tuscaloosa County, and obviously that is of interest. We'll keep an eye on things there. In fact, let's go back to the high-res radar if we can do that. Let me show you what the Weather Service is watching right there. All right, this is Highway 43 coming north out of Northport. This is the community of Samantha. This is close to Northside High School and Walker Elementary School. And again, what happens, you might see this on one volume scan, it goes away on the next one. But the Weather Service is going to watch this to see if they need to do something with that. That's a new circulation that just popped up. Again, this does not include the city of Tuscaloosa, Northport. This circulation is pretty close to Samantha, maybe just south of there between the high school and the northern shore of Lake Tuscaloosa, moving northeast up toward the northeastern part of the county. Just something to watch. And what the Weather Service does, they'll watch on a couple of volume scans. It might just fade away on the next one, but that's just something they're watching right now. While we have this up, we'll take a look at the data. Again, this is coming from the Birmingham NextRad site. This is not the Columbus Air Force Base data, which is a bit closer up here. But you can see evidence of strong winds maybe coming into Haleyville and Natural Bridge. This is the leading edge of the line of storms. There's no evidence of any tornado circulation here. And again, I would expect the Weather Service to probably cancel the tornado warning for Marion County at any moment. Number one, the storms are basically moving out of the county. And number two, there's not any evidence of rotation there, but that's coming up into Winston. And again, Winston County, that is a severe thunderstorm warning. This includes Haleyville, Natural Bridge, Lynn, Addison, places like that. One note, the Weather Service is going to extend the tornado watch until 8 o'clock farther to the east. So if we can go back to our main graphic system and show the watch warning map, wanted to show the new part of the state that is involved in a tornado watch. These will be the counties in purple. The counties that have been added are Autauga, Blount, Chilton, Dallas, Lowndes, Shelby, and St. Clair. So, like Blount, St. Clair, Shelby, Chilton, Lowndes, Autauga, Dallas, these counties have been added to the tornado watch until 8 o'clock. That's one of the options the local Weather Service offices have. They can adjust the Storm Prediction Center products, and I think that's a good call, and that we have active weather. So, again, this is an extension of the tornado watch to include Blount, St. Clair, Shelby, Chilton, Autauga, and Lowndes. The tornado watch for the counties here in purple until 8 o'clock. But the good news, we have no warnings within the watch other than these up here in the far northern part. Again, that's that northeastern corner of Marion County. The tornado warning that expires at 6, and they might cancel that before 6 o'clock because these storms are moving into Winston. That is a severe thunderstorm warning for the northern half of Winston County. We've also got severe thunderstorm warnings for a pretty good chunk of Franklin County, parts of Colbert, and parts of Lawrence up here in the Tennessee Valley of North Alabama. But it's encouraging to see back to the west, we have no tornado warnings in Mississippi, and we have no tornado warnings in the west central part of our state. And
leading edge of that heavy rain has just moved into Haleyville.
Yeah, let's go back to the Skycam.
And you can see it blowing across this parking lot. This was that view we had last year of the snow just piling up.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want to mention that, but again, the heavy rain coming down at this point, and you'll see it blowing across. The winds just a moment ago were about 25, 26 miles an hour, but it looks like they've died down here just a second ago. But that's that leading edge. If that circulation that we've been following, the southern circulation still holds together, which we're hoping it's not. They're not going to extend that, hopefully. This would be passing over here in the next, I would say, 4 to 5 minutes. That's that southern circulation that we watched go through Marion County just a little while ago.
Yep. And again, this is not a good night to be out. And I'll say this, I don't like driving in severe thunderstorm warnings. It's not, we don't fuss at people like we do for tornado warnings, but understand if a tree goes down and you're driving, that's pretty dangerous. And with those strong winds like that, it's just not a good idea to be driving during a severe thunderstorm warning. So this is a severe storm. This is a line of severe storms. This is what's been coming through Marion County, coming through Haleyville now in Winston County. And the winds could gust to 40, 50, maybe 60 miles an hour. And that could be enough to knock down trees and power lines. And you can see the wind's pretty ferocious up in there. And again, the data you're seeing, that is a 1 minute average of 18. That is not a spontaneous wind gust measurement.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that's pretty fierce. And that is an example of what is happening up there in that northwestern part of Alabama.
And that circulation right now, per the weather, per the radar in Columbus, is right on top of Haleyville. What was left of that circulation? So that's what we're watching.
Yep. And again, the Weather Service also continues to watch that broad circulation that was in the northern part of Tuscaloosa County as we are. And again, no warning on that at this point. It's still there near Samantha. But again, the Weather Service is doing a great job. You know, one of the problems we've had as a weather enterprise, and I'm not talking the Weather Service, I'm talking TV, private sector, government meteorologists, we had too many false warnings. And that cost us April 27, 2011. And we've gone back to basic science, and we've really worked hard to reduce that. And the Weather Service has cut that sucker in half. The false alarm ratio was 80% basically in 2011. Now it's down to 40%. And what they're doing now with that broad circulation in Tuscaloosa County is exactly what they need to do. Again, while you're watching the Haleyville Skycam, let me just, one report of damage coming in from Sumter County, a tree down on a building in the community of Cuba on Pretty Branch Road, some damage and debris in the area. That's from the storm that came through there earlier. This is not current damage. It happened probably about 90 minutes ago, maybe 2 hours ago. Also, the Weather Service has posted an aerial flood advisory for Chilton, Coosa, Shelby, and Talladega until 8:45. The other issue is flash flooding that we're dealing with, in addition to potential for severe weather, and obviously that is a problem as well. Let's go back to the high-res radar. Let me show you this Tuscaloosa County circulation. It's very broad. I don't think they issue a warning for this. It looked tight about 2 volume scans ago. It's gotten broad. Again, Tuscaloosa here, Northport here. This is Highway 43, Samantha's here, and this is moving. It's kind of on the northern fringe of Lake Tuscaloosa, but I stress there is no evidence of any really tight circulation. So the Weather Service, I fully do not expect them to post a warning, but the weather is just horrible in Tuscaloosa, the main line coming through there. If we go to maybe one of the cameras in Tuscaloosa, maybe DCH, if y'all can do that, just to show you what it's like. And this is not the time to be driving, obviously, but there's no warning here. And people say, why is there no severe warning? It's like severe to me. To be severe, by definition, the wind has to be 58 miles per hour or greater. We don't have that. You can see that the average there is 7 miles an hour. It's just not that windy. You've got ferocious lightning and thunder, but lightning and thunder is not part of the severe weather criteria. It's wind and hail size, and the atmospheric conditions don't favor large hail with these storms. Certainly not 1 inch in diameter. But again, that is the view looking west from atop DCH Regional Medical Center in Tuscaloosa. Down below, the lights on the right, that is University Boulevard. The lights on the left, that is Paul Bryant Drive. And again, you can see the weather is just horrible. But the good news, we have no sign of any tornado activity. And the Weather Service has now canceled the tornado warning for Marion County, which means for the first time in about 90 minutes, we have no active tornado warnings in effect. So our 6 o'clock news will start at 6 o'clock in 7 minutes. So we're going to keep it here. And at 6 o'clock, we're not going anywhere, but at 6 o'clock, we'll start our regular newscast at this point here on ABC 3340. So we're down to basically 1 severe thunderstorm warning. Let's go back to the big picture, if you will. This is our graphic system. And again, this warning has been canceled right here. So the tornado warning for northeastern Marion canceled. We have no tornado warnings in effect anywhere in the state. We have a line of strong to severe storms running from near Haleyville down to Tuscaloosa, down to Moundville, Utah, and Greensboro. There is one severe thunderstorm warning polygon for northern Winston County. This includes the city of Haleyville. It includes areas north of Addison. This is the southern edge of the polygon right here, the yellow line. That's the only warning we have, a severe thunderstorm warning for northern Winston County that'll be in effect for about the next 30 minutes or so until 6:30, so about the next 35 minutes. And that's it. The storms below this, down below this, yes, tremendous rain, tremendous lightning, gusty winds, but they're way below severe limits. No evidence of a tornado. So that's the encouraging news. These will be coming in the Birmingham Metro by 6:30 this evening. And it's the same thing. It's coming through Tuscaloosa now. And again, let's go back to our Tuscaloosa Skycam, one of those down there. This is DCH. Birmingham, you're going to look just like that at about 6:15 to 6:30. You'll have a whole lot of lightning, heavy rain, all this kind of stuff. But as long as the storms stay in their current structure, hopefully we'll get through this with no additional tornado warnings. All right, we are at a point now where the sun has gone down. The air tends to be a little more stable. Of course, understand, goodness, if you lived here for any length of time, you know we have some pretty rough weather at night in our state. We can and we will, and it's pretty rough tonight, but thankfully the storms are under classic severe limits. And those of you in East Alabama, Anniston and Gadsden, you'll deal with this later tonight, but the storms at that point should be weaker. The air is more stable on the eastern side of the state, and the risk there is much lower. It's the marginal risk, and that is the lowest end risk we have.
The heaviest of the rain seems to have passed Tuscaloosa. It's headed through Alberta City right now. That's where we have the lightning actually beyond the university now. So I've swung that around. We were looking at the Capstone College of Nursing just a second ago. Now we're looking back towards the east, and that's where we have the bulk of the lightning now at this point, moving through Tuscaloosa.
And again, it just seems like all of the major damage reports we have today, again, from parts of Mississippi. In Jasper County, we've had mobile homes destroyed.
That actually hit about a half-mile north of my father-in-law. That's where I was a little earlier today, dealing with making sure they were okay.
Wow.
But they had numerous trees down. He knows of one home at least damaged. Many of the roads were blocked throughout that county.
Goodness. All right.
But the family's okay.
That's good. That's all that matters.
Numerous trees down, though.
So again, if you're just joining us, it's coming up on 5:56. We're going to start the 6 o'clock news here in a couple of minutes, and in that we do not have any tornado warnings. Let's go back to the graphic system, Dennis. We have a line of strong storms in West Alabama running from near Haleyville down to about Carbon Hill, down to Lake Tuscaloosa, Cottondale, Moundville, Utah, and west of Demopolis, out around Bellamy. And these are moving on to the east. We have had a number of tornado warnings in our state. We have heard of no injuries. We've had some trees blown down in parts of West Alabama, but we've heard of no major structural damage in the state so far, which is good. Thankfully, many of the elements where we saw evidence of a tornado, it came through very sparsely populated parts of the state. And as the storms continue moving into central and east Alabama tonight, there is some risk of severe weather. It is rather marginal at best. Again, for the eastern side of the state, it's a very marginal risk. That is the lowest end threat. We have the standard slight risk up to about Interstate 65. Storm should be in the Birmingham Metro about 6:15 to 6:30 this evening. And again, at the moment, we see no evidence of a tornado, no evidence of extremely high winds. The one warning in our market, and again, this warning up here is expired, the warning for Marion County. We have a severe thunderstorm warning for the northern part of Winston County. That'll be in effect until 6:30. This is basically for areas along and north of U.S. Highway 278, and that's it. That is the only warning we have currently in effect. Double Springs, on the southern boundary of this. Within that, we could see some fairly strong winds. We watched the Haleyville Skycam. Pretty interesting as it came through there. Looks like the winds were maybe gusting to 50 miles an hour.
You know what? We lost power there for a moment because it's reset to its home position without us moving it. Power's back on now, but I know they've lost power there for brief period of time there.
Yeah, and again, we'll check with Alabama Power Company, the various co-ops, and check on the power situation here in just a little bit. But again, the good news, no major structural damage in the state so far. We've had some trees down. We're down to this one warning up here in the northern part of Winston County. The risk for East Alabama is somewhat marginal. Still is a risk. We'll be here watching the storms carefully, and we'll, of course, keep you advised. But what we're going to do, because we have no tornado warnings, we're going to start our newscast on time. A lot of things are happening, so we're going to pause. We're going to join ABC 3340 News at 6 o'clock. That starts right now.
Live from Alabama's news leader, this is ABC 3340 News at 6.
I'm Menorah Gathings. A tornado watch is still in effect for parts of Alabama. Chief Meteorologist James Spann has been here all afternoon tracking the storm. And James, how high is the threat for severe weather?
Nora, it's a lower end threat for the rest of the evening. This is the radar. We're down to one warning up here in northern Winston County. That is a severe thunderstorm warning. Earlier today, we had tornado warnings for parts of West Alabama. All of those have been canceled. We have a line of strong storms now from near Haleyville down to Carbon Hill, Lake Tuscaloosa, Coling, Moundville, Utah, and Bellamy. The line of storms moving east as it moves into Birmingham between 6:15 and 6:30. The line could produce winds of 30, 40 miles an hour. A lot of lightning and thunder, but again, we see no evidence of any tornado activity, no evidence of winds greater than 50 miles an hour for now. There is a low-end marginal risk for the eastern side of the state later tonight. All of this winds down after midnight. Megan will have much more coming up in the weather segment. Nora?
James wasn't the only person out here monitoring this weather. Several emergency management agencies also had crews on standby watching this weather move the area. ABC 3340's Larry Miller is live in Birmingham at the Jefferson County EMA.